Since 1950, the history of Formula One has included many teams. Among them, the oldest team is also the most popular one, Ferrari. Especially in recent years, we have seen many reports about Audi and Porsche wanting to enter Formula One, and we continue to see them, with Audi joining the sport from 2026 onwards. As for Porsche, their plans seem to be shelved for now due to disagreements with Red Bull. Because of these news stories, I wanted to tell you about some brands that have raced in Formula One in the past, but couldn't survive in the sport. Formula One is such a difficult sport to remain in that even big brands can't hold on and eventually withdraw. Peugeot decided to enter Formula One as an engine supplier in 1991 and 1992, following their success in Le Mans, and in 1994 they became McLaren's engine partner. In their first years, they achieved 8 podiums, but the French-British relationship was weak, and for team principal Ron Dennis, the Peugeot engine was neither fast nor reliable enough. After just one season, the partnership between McLaren and Peugeot ended. In 1995, Peugeot became Jordan's engine partner. Over the 3 seasons with Jordan, Peugeot engines improved significantly and by 1997 had reached race-winning potential. Being a French manufacturer, Peugeot supplied engines to the legendary French driver Alain Prost's team in 1998. However, the Prost-Peugeot partnership ended in failure. In 3 seasons, they scored only 5 points. Their only real success was Trulli's accidental second place in 1999. Due to these failures and reliability issues, Peugeot withdrew from Formula One at the end of the 2000 season. Lancia became one of the teams that couldn't survive in F1. As an Italian brand like Ferrari, their passion for the sport was unquestionable. They also had a star driver, Alberto Ascari. Lancia had everything required to be an F1, except money. Lancia entered the sport in 1954, participating only in the final race of the season. Ascari started that race from pole position but failed to finish due to a clutch problem. Later, in the early non-championship races of the 1955 season, he won 2 races. Then, in Monaco, while leading the race, he missed a corner and flew into the harbor. He escaped with only a broken nose. 4 days later, he went to Monza to watch a test session of Ferrari's 750S model. He wasn't supposed to drive that day, but he changed his mind and decided to take a few laps. On his 3rd lap, as he exited a corner, he lost control of the car, which skidded, went off the track, rolled twice, and ejected Ascari onto the asphalt. Ascari unfortunately lost his life in the accident, and the corner at Monza was later named the Ascari Chicane. Lancia lost its star driver in that tragic accident and withdrew from F1. But the main reason for their withdrawal wasn't Ascari's death. It was financial problems. The team had run out of money to race. Lancia was sold, and their designs and spare parts were sold to Fiat, in other words, to Ferrari. The following year, Juan Manuel Fangio became the 1956 world champion. The car he drove was called the Lancia Ferrari D50. Yamaha is a brand most of us know from MotoGP rather than F1. Successful in motorcycle racing, Yamaha competed in Formula One between 1989 and 1997. During this period, Yamaha supplied engines to Zakspeed, Brabham, Jordan, Tyrrell, and Arrows. But in 116 races, they achieved only 2 podiums. After this string of failures, the inevitable happened. Yamaha withdrew from Formula One. A team that was so successful in motorcycle racing couldn't survive in what is considered the pinnacle of motorsport. Before moving on to the most anticipated brand, if you want me to survive on YouTube unlike these brands that couldn't survive in Formula One, please like the video and subscribe. Also, I'd be very happy if you leave your video ideas in the comments. One of Ferrari's biggest rivals, Lamborghini, wanted to carry this rivalry into Formula One as well. Lamborghini raced in Formula One between 1989 and 1993 and managed to score only 1 podium in Japan in 1990. After poor results, Lamborghini contacted McLaren before withdrawing from the sport. At the time, McLaren was using Ford engines, and they tested the Lamborghini engine, which was 60 horsepower stronger than the Ford unit, and Senna used this engine in the final three races of the 1993 season. But ultimately, McLaren signed with Peugeot for 1994, and Lamborghini became yet another brand unable to remain in the sport. Even today, many people ask why this brand is not in F1. Now you know the reason. Porsche is a brand we've heard many rumors about in recent years, especially regarding a potential return to the sport. Porsche was already part of F1 for a period, racing as a factory team between 1957 and 1964. During those years, their only victory came at the 1962 French Grand Prix. Porsche withdrew in 1964, but returned as an engine supplier in the mid-1980s under the tag branding, powering McLaren to championships. After McLaren switched to Honda engines in 1988, we last saw Porsche in 1991 as an engine supplier for the footwork team. This partnership can only be described as a disaster. Porsche signed a 4-year contract with Footwork, but the partnership lasted only 6 races. The Porsche engine was extremely heavy and underpowered. Footwork cars couldn't even reach the checkered flag. The most memorable moment was Alex Caffey's crash in Monaco, where the Porsche engine completely detached from the car. After these failures, the contract was terminated, and Porsche, expected to return in future years, left the sport. Another Italian brand, Maserati, was one of the first teams to appear in Formula One. In addition to running a factory team, they supplied engines to many others. So much so that the legend Juan Manuel Fangio won the 1957 championship driving a Maserati 250F. Fangio, who was also the 1954 champion, even competed in 2 races that season with a Maserati, though the car didn't carry the Maserati name officially, and won them. Maserati, the second major Italian brand capable of challenging Ferrari, withdrew from Formula One in the late 1950s, citing political reasons. Toyota's Formula One journey can be described as an adventure that ultimately failed to meet expectations. Entering the grid in 2002 with McNish and Solo, Toyota scored points in their first race. Though this was partly due to an iconic crash triggered by Ralf Schumacher, which took out half the field. Still, Salo's 6th place gave the team its first points. Between 2002 and 2009, Toyota took several pole positions, but their best results were second places in Malaysia and Bahrain in 2005, and in Singapore and Japan in 2009. The Japanese manufacturer never achieved the victory they hoped for, and with financial problems piling up, they withdrew from the sport in 2010. Interestingly, wind tunnel data indicated that Toyota's 2010 car was among the fastest on the grid and even quicker than the championship-winning Red Bull RB6. Who knows? If Toyota had stayed in the sport, we might have seen Timo Glock or Trulli become champions. Even if that didn't happen, Toyota would surely have captured the victory they always dreamed of. Lotus, a team based in England, the homeland of Formula One, entered the sport in 1958 and won their first championship with Jim Clark in 1963. Later, names like Graham Hill and Mario Andretti also won championships with Team Lotus. After leaving the sport for a time, Lotus made a full return in 2012 under the name Lotus F1 Team. During their time in F1, they won only 2 races, both courtesy of the last Ferrari world champion, Kimi Räikkönen. Unable to regain their former glory, Lotus withdrew at the end of 2015 due to financial difficulties, having incurred a loss of £57 million. The team was sold to Renault. Now we move on to another German manufacturer, one of Mercedes' biggest rivals. Apart from a few races in the 1950s and 1960s, BMW's Formula One. Adventure can be said to have started in 1982 as an engine supplier. Until 1988, BMW supplied engines to Brabham, ATS, Arrows, Benetton, and Ligier. In 1983, they won the championship with Nelson Piquet and achieved a total of 9 victories until 1988. After a 12-year break, BMW returned to the sport in 2000 with Williams and achieved many memorable performances until 2005. After Williams chose Cosworth for 2006, BMW purchased the Sauber team and stayed on the grid until 2009. They even achieved victory with Robert Kubica in 2008. In 2009, BMW cited global economic difficulties and technical regulations that no longer aligned with road car development as reasons for their withdrawal at the end of the season. They sold the team back to its original owner, Peter Sauber. Although Sauber switched to Ferrari engines in 2010, they continued to use the BMW name that season. Formula One is one of the biggest sports in the world, and even seemingly massive companies struggle to stay in it. Who knows, maybe 10 or 20 years from now, many of the brands we see on today's grid will change again. Perhaps some of the brands I mentioned in this video will return and try their luck once more. In Formula One, you never know what might happen. That unpredictability is one of the factors that makes this sport so appealing. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.